Can anyone catch them, do you think?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, unbelievable. We didn't expect that.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Gooners podcast. We keep saying that we are going to keep it as consistent as possible, but somehow we go into the mode of, being lax, relaxed, and giving up on whenever there's a big gap. And believe me, this season we had so many weeks where we didn't have anything else to talk about. So we just went like, But hopefully that's not going to be the case in future. We are here to talk about the Arsenal versus Crystal Palace game, or is it the other way around? Yeah, so we are here to talk about the Crystal Palace game. We have got like two great guests today with us. One is Ollie from Talk CPFC. Hi, Ollie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you all.
And the other is Rob, whom we are trying to poach and make him a regular as much as we can. So we are trying to convince him that this is a place where we could talk more, we could, all those things. So welcome, Rob. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to make my full debut.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a good one because we are going in after the last, the last of this, what do you call it? International breaks. That's been causing such a ruckus in all our calendars. So and hope we could go into a new stretch till the end of the season. So to get it, and then I didn't introduce Arun and Bob because I
don't think we need any introduction.
Yeah, man.
Our mugs are visible in every episode. Yeah.
So to start it off, right? Like before starting off the game, I would like to listen a little bit more about where Crystal Palace are at the moment, because obviously the Viera connection is there, and obviously the Zaha connection is there. So
what's the Zaha connection? Sorry.
Do you want me to go on to the whole
Vijay, if we were to be talking about this in terms of player connections, then we'll have something to do with every single club that is playing in this sport. We've been linked to so many players. So.
I just wanted to be more than one, guys. That's all I wanted it to be. So so about Crystal Palace, right? This has been a good season, at least from Arsenal's perspective. It's not a season where Crystal Palace usually is trying to hold on to the Premier League or with no how do I put it, direction in the way they are going. So that's Arsenal's perspective. But what are your guys, did you guys think that you would be where you are right now at the start of the season and all those things?
I don't think so. No, it was kind of well reported that we let a lot of players go last season. In June, we had no manager, barely any squad, and it was a bit like, what's going to happen? And when Viera came in, I was quite happy when we got him. I thought it was quite a cool appointment, very un-Palace. Roy Hodgson was he did a job, but he wasn't very exciting. Viera was a very exciting appointment, I thought. And to be honest, I don't think any Palace fan could have asked for much more this season. We're pushing top half. We're playing really good football. We're really good to watch. We've got some young players who are doing amazingly, who have bedded in quickly. There are a lot of, when you're a team like us, you have got to look at the future, and there are players in our team like Elise, like Gay, they're the main two, Eze as well, who I can see us making a lot of money from selling them in the next few years. Obviously I hope they stay forever, but I'm realistic and know they'll probably get poached by big teams. And also to get to an FA Cup semi-final, that finishing mid-table and getting to a cup semi-final, that is kind of the best you can hope for at Palace, and to have that day out is so exciting. He's been unbelievable. I thought he'd be all right, but we've been so good to watch, and I'm enjoying it while it lasts, because as I said, when you're a team like us, generally when someone's doing well, they will get poached by someone. So I'll enjoy it until Viera goes to Arsenal, which will probably be soon. So it's been amazing. It's been amazing.
So that's the question that I was going to ask, Rob, a little bit, right? Even when Mikel Arteta was signed, there was talks about how we could have gone for Vieira, how Henry was in the list and all those things, right? Like, and to see him performing at Crystal Palace, what are your thoughts on, like, Vieira as a manager? Are you like, and do you see Crystal Palace games?
Yeah. I go every week. Like the difference in style from last season to this is mad, and even from the start of this season, like you can see he's got a way of playing. And I think the thing that's good with him is players really respect him and want to play for him. Like a lot of the signings we've made said the main reason they joined was because of Vieira, and I think that his style is transferable to a bigger team as well. I think often when you have managers, like when people said Sean Dyche should go to Man United, for example, like that was never going to work because the way Burnley play is not the way a top 6 team should play. But the way we play, I could see him going to an Arsenal, to a Man City, and the football being like good enough for a team of the top half. But like he's been great. As I said, he was kind of had a bit of a dodgy record before he joined us, and people were a bit skeptical. But I think that he's a very good manager, and it goes beyond just tactical. Yeah, he's got that authority kind of as a player. Everyone respected him. No one wanted to get on the wrong side of him. Like people played for him, and that's the same with him as a manager too.
Yeah. Rob, sorry, you could weigh in your thoughts a little bit, Rob.
Yeah, I think Ollie touched on it there. When we were looking at getting Arteta, and Vieira was working in America, wasn't he? And I don't think he was pulling up trees, and it would have been a huge risk. We took a risk with Arteta, but it was a risk that he was working under Pep, so we thought that would rub off on him. So I can understand why they took that one. I think Vieira would have been a real shot in the dark. However, he's proven to be the real deal. I think he's doing a fantastic job. The other concern is I'm worried about ex-Arsenal legends coming back as managers. People screaming for Henry to be a manager. No way in a million years do I want Henry as an Arsenal manager, because he is like, if I say the best Arsenal player, it might be arguable, but he is one of the best Arsenal players. He was a phenomenal player, and he's up there. Can you imagine him being a manager, and we go on a 10-game stretch of not winning, and the fans get on his back? It would be horrendous. So that's another reason why I thought Vieira would be a bit risky. So I'm glad we did go for Arteta, obviously. And I don't want to think of Vieira as being the future, because that means Arteta's failed. So
if you could listen to Gary Neville, it's like, it's not about failure. It's just
I don't listen to Gary Neville, to be honest.
That was the best reaction anyone could have. Don't listen to Gary Neville.
Only when I have to, and I watch football and he's commentating. I don't know what it is. He's got.
And when you don't have an option but to listen to him.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary Neville's strange. He comes out sometimes and he says amazing things about Arsenal. He recognises how big the Arsenal Football Club is, but he just can't help himself. Given these little.
I see. In the recent times, I see more of these jealousies coming out.
All the Manchester United fans.
Initially, with all the things that we were doing, they were actually wanting us to fail. But since that has not happened the way that they would have imagined, it's sort of, there's sort of this rivalry, or you shouldn't say a rivalry anymore, because United are way down. So for them, looking at us, they say it's all Arteta is all they wanted to be at the start of the season, and having not got one that way, it means that they've regressed in the way that they've looked at things and in the way that they've moved on from last season.
But I think you're right. I think it's eating them alive. What's happening? Seeing Manchester United performing and Arsenal performing the way we are, I think it's really, really doing him some harm, and that's why he's coming out with this nonsense.
But I want to ask this point, right? Like I was trying to get to that a little bit late, but I want to ask about, like, how the media is treating, Arsenal. I mean, from Arsenal's perspective, Rob, like we see that the media is kind of biased from us. Like, when we celebrate, they are coming out and saying like, "Hell, these people are celebrating too much." Like, what are we?
Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard that in your life?
No.
A team being criticised for celebrating, and then Arsenal get these amazing wins. We're down to 10 men and we win away to Wolves. It was a fantastic win, and they celebrated, and they were criticised. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, so that's what, like, as an Arsenal fan, I feel that way too, right? Like when Saka comes out and talks to a media, they're like, "Oh, he's been crying about like being mistreated," and Gerrard comes out and says stuff like this.
Oh,
right?
yeah, that was.
Yeah, but
shocking.
from an outsider perspective, Ollie, right? Like, do you see that there is kind of a bias from media on certain teams in Premier League?
I think there are some teams which the media is waiting for them to fail. Arsenal are definitely one of them. And to be fair, you might not agree with that. I think Man United are another.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I think United are another. You might not agree with that. Like they're waiting for them to do badly. And the Saka thing is very interesting because Zaha said similar before in his career, said that I'm getting no protection. I'm getting kicked. Like my legs are getting kicked all game and it's not on. And he got criticised for it too, which I think is stupid. Yes. Like someone like Saka's like 20 years old. Like he shouldn't be getting a battering every single time he plays because it's just going to negatively affect his game in the future. And Gerrard coming out and saying, "Oh, like I've got all these operations done from playing football." It was like, well, that's proof that he needs more protection because that shouldn't be normal for a player. But yeah, no, I definitely see what you mean. Like the Arsenal became like a bit of a joke, to be honest, when after Wenger, well, even during Wenger towards the end. And now that they're doing so well. I mean, I realized today that if you win on Monday, you're only 2 points behind Chelsea, which is crazy. Like when you look at the way those two teams are viewed, Arsenal are like right behind them and probably will overtake them at some point, in my opinion, towards the end of the season. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So there you go, folks. It's coming. It's not just coming from us screaming that we are being mistreated. Arun, it's no longer a conspiracy. It is a fact that we are getting mistreated. Okay.
Ollie confirms it's a fact.
Yeah.
I had a question for Ollie. This is more, on Crystal Palace and things. So, I mean, we've looked at the way that Viera was at Nice, and to be honest, when he was appointed, I wasn't too optimistic as what everyone were mostly, because the results at Nice, he didn't really go on to improve the team assets there. I mean, if you look at his whole tenure in France, he didn't go on to make a team more. I mean, he didn't really dictate a style of play that you could associate with the team. But did you really have such sort of expectations that he could come and revitalize? I know you were managed by Hodgson, which was like completely a different style of approach altogether. But did you see any such things at the start of the season which made you believe? I mean, mind you, the results were on par with what Hodgson was actually producing as well. Until recently, I think it's improved. So did you really foresaw such a change from Palace as such as a team with Viera managing it?
No, not at all. And I went to the first game of the season where we played Chelsea at the Bridge, and obviously, you're not expecting anything from that game. We lost 3-0, which wasn't really surprising, but we were awful. Like we played so badly, and that was a real worry because you'd heard things about Viera not having a proper style, and we changed formation 4 times in that game, and it was just a bit concerning. But eventually, it just took him time to get it to click. He found a system where he got the best out of all the players. We now play the same formation every single week. The personnel might change, but the system is the same, which is really important, I think, for a team like us. And it's interesting, because if you compare to last season, you're right. Like we were about on a par where we were, but the mood was so different. Like under Hodgson, we were painful to watch. Like, and even when we'd win games, it was horrendous. Like we played shocking football. I remember we played West Brom last season. We had 1 shot on target, which was a penalty, and we won 1-0. And it's like, we won the game, but it was not fun at all. Whereas now I watch us and the Arsenal game earlier in the season being an example. Like, we didn't win that game, and we've beaten Arsenal a few times under Hodgson, but watching it, I was so happy because it's like, God, like, this is Palace now. And that was without Wilf as well. You know, we used to rely on him so much. We then went to Emirates, got a point, should have won without him. And that was a real moment for me where I was like, okay, this is not the same team from last season. We're different now. And it's been great. I've loved it.
To contrast that a little bit, Rob, right? Like, the manager has won, Arteta has won the Manager of the Month award for the second time. And that's a record that was previously done by Wenger in the 2007-8 season, which means it's been a long time, even under Wenger, where he has won 2 Manager of the Month awards, right? So in that sense, do you see us making progress in the way like that's more tangible? Like, yeah, we all had like these kind of good feelings about Arteta when he won the FA Cup, when he kind of like brought in this kind of new thing and everything, but those are more like feelings part of it. Like, we were having good feelings, but this is more tangible that he has won these awards.
The difference now, because you mentioned the FA Cup win and the way we played, I think even early this season, we would grab a goal and then we would step back a bit and rely on that goal and defend, like we did in the FA Cup final, really. And the games before that to beat, was it City in the semis? And last season, if you remember, it was a funny old season, but a lot of people questioning what is our football about, what's happening. You know, we were playing games and no one could work out what the plan was, and it's basically Arteta finding his feet. It's him finding his players. He knows the style he wants. It's just basically teaching the players the style he wants. It's not going to happen overnight. And again, even the early parts of this season, the people were very critical that we would get a goal and then we wouldn't go for the jugular like we've known our past Arsenal teams to do. But the difference now is I think we're gradually starting to do that. There is real progress there. I was only thinking today, actually, when's the last time we got to this part of the season where we didn't think, oh God, I wish the season would end?
Most every season in the last 15 years.
You know what I mean? When's the last time, apart from obviously we won the FA Cup, but the actual league season, it's like, oh God, please end. This is the first time I can remember for a while now where we're thinking every game now is exciting. It's like every game's a cup final almost. So that just shows how much we're progressing.
From an outsider's perspective, sorry, about Arsenal, the thing that I like about Arteta is after Wenger, there was still like this obsession with, it seemed like, playing a certain way. And like, even when Emery, to be fair, for a while was getting results, but Arsenal fans still weren't happy. And I like that Arteta has been strong with like, this is how I want to play football. And even when people were pushing back on it, he was strong on it and he stayed with it. And like, I think Arsenal play so differently to how they used to in terms of like, but in a good way, they're so much harder. They're harder to break down. And I like that the board has backed him. You know, the signings that you made in the summer, I was definitely one person who thought, why the hell have they gone and spent 100 million on Ben White, Tomiyasu and Ramsdale? And now it's like, oh, okay, that's why they went to spend 100 million on them, because they've all slotted in perfectly. And that's exactly what he wanted. So I like that they've kind of backed him all the way through, because, you know, you're seeing the rewards. And the same thing happened with City and Liverpool. Like, Pep and Klopp didn't start well, but they stuck with them. And once you get that style going, then you're finding the rewards. That's what Arsenal are doing now. Talking
about backing players, I need to give Arun like a couple of minutes, because Pepe has scored an amazing goal in his international duty, and Arun has been like the biggest Pepe fan forever. So and he had that interview.
I walk around the streets of Montreal.
But he had this interview with someone, Arun, right, where he talked about his role in the team, and it was more positive than what I thought. He was not complaining that he was not getting chances. He was talking more about like how the system works and how the manager sees him. that was more positive than what I thought from him.
That was definitely a surprise for me, given all the news going on about him having to leave, and like the best thing for us to do is to have him leave the club. Even like Merson, I think yesterday or day before, came out and said something very similar. The Pepe should leave or something like that. I think he's been saying that all season. But this sort of an attitude from Pepe, who understands what we are aiming for, and like it is the fact that we do not have a lot of games to play, but we have like a very limited squad, meaning that he's not going to get his starts as much as he would like, is very refreshing to see. Like it shows kind of like the entire team is working towards that one goal at the end of the season, which is to get to the Champions League. This is the kind of attitude that we need from everyone playing in the squad if we were to be getting to top four. Not like putting Instagram messages saying that I need to play, or trying to get out of the club. That's not what we need at this point. But 10 games left to play. This is the kind of camaraderie that we need from the team to be able to get there. We always keep saying the only person who could stop us from finishing top four is Arsenal. And these are the kind of things that would have in another season, this would have probably worked against us, with player complaining and anything that they say, all that we've spoken about Arsenal and the media being against us. If Pepe had said one word wrong at that point, one negative word, they would have twisted it out so much and made us believe really that Pepe wants to leave. He chose his words very carefully. I think this is, if we need to get to top four, and if you want to get to top four, getting this right is the most important thing. And I'm glad that we are having this right, at least to the outside world. We don't know what's going on at the back, until we see all or nothing. But for now, to the outside world, we're able to see that there's something positive and happy happening there. That's really good.
And also, Bob, your favorite Partey scored. I mean, we had a lot of our players score in the international, right? Like we had Tierney score, I guess. I think Partey scored.
He scored his first goal. Tierney, yes.
Odegaard, did he score?
Yeah, Odegaard scored. Yeah. Martin scored too. So yeah.
But yeah, just coming back to the Pepe argument, I would have really loved Wilf to be in Pepe's place. If I go back to
too late, Bob. Too late to have this conversation.
we spoke about Saka complaining more on the fact that he's being mistreated in the field. But then imagine if we had Wilf as well on, we would have been the most foul team by a mile. So.
I think Wilf is the most fouled player in the league again this season, and he's most fouled.
No, I keep taking that every season. Yes, Wilf is yes.
Yeah, it's annoying.
But Rob, coming back to our players, right? I mean, we have to start on talking more about the game. I think Ramsdale is still not ready for the game, so we would be having Leno to start. And also, I think Tomiyasu is still not ready. So we might have Cedric to start. And Saka, I don't know if he's ready, but I'm not too worried about Saka at this point.
I think everything's pointing that he will be ready.
Yeah, he's back in training.
So yeah, but how confident are you to have Leno at the back for this game, especially?
I'm confident defensive. Oh, hold on. Sorry, someone's trying to ring. How do I get it?
Oh, okay. We just we'll get back to Rob on that one.
Can I point the same question to Ollie now? So Ollie, without Ramsdale being in the team and being the person who starts all the attacks, what does that mean for Crystal Palace, you think, in terms of the attack starter not being there, and Leno, for all his shot-stopping abilities, is not a great all-round goalkeeper, is a fantastic shot stopper, but we cannot. So do you think Crystal Palace have an edge here with not having Ramsdale in there, and that would be a point of weakness that on our side that they would be looking to exploit? Do you think this would be sort of one of the main battles, if you could say, in the game that would have to be won to win the game?
Hey,
I'd say so. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Sorry,
someone called me.
Sorry, Ali, go ahead.
I'd say I'd say so. I still think Leno is as backup goalkeepers go, he's pretty good. But if a team like us, we're going to have to exploit anything we can, and obviously Ramsdale is still play. But like there are some goalkeepers, like I don't know, if Edison was out for Man City or Alisson was out for Liverpool, I'd be like, okay, brilliant, that's a big opportunity. But Leno, I still really rate Leno, to be honest. But I'm sure we will. We're missing players too, so I think both teams will be a little bit depleted in that way. But as backup keepers go, I think Leno is a good option. And say shot stop, like Ramsdale's distribution is amazing, and Leno's obviously isn't as good, but his shot stopping is still class. Like he's not someone who I think, oh, you know what, we should target him, we should shoot more, because he's just as assured, if not more.
Rob, your point on that?
Yeah, that's exactly my point. I was going to say, defensively, I've got no issues with him. However, our game does seem to centralise with us working from the back, and Ramsdale is much better at that. So that's a bit of concern. We may be changing tactics, or we might be trying that off, but it won't work as well. So that is a shame. But defensively, I've got no problems with him. He's a great. He's a very good keeper, so I don't think we need to be concerned about that.
Especially coming off that last-minute save. I mean, we might have forgotten that he did that last-minute save to keep us in the game in the last game that we played. So I mean, definitely that's not.
I don't think a lot of people would have forgotten that, because the experience of having your heart come to your mouth and then go back in is not something that you're likely to forget very easily. So
no, but isn't that the case? Almost 70 minutes of every game that we play.
Yeah, if we score a goal, then I can say definitely my heart is always in cheer. Like I have to keep my mouth closed.
The perks of being an Arsenal fan. That's what we call that.
The names I was calling Pepe, because he was the one who gave that free kick away, wasn't he? I like Pepe. I'm a big fan of his. But when I saw him do that, I thought, oh God, what have you done?
Definitely.
I was gonna ask Ollie about their FA Cup run and what he is actually looking forward to for the semi-finals.
And to add on to that, the semi-finals so close, would that be considered in the decisions that's made around this game?
Guys, give this a game a go.
I think, well, in terms of the actual semi-final itself, I'm not expecting anything. Like the thing I'm looking forward to is the day out at Wembley. I mean,
Chelsea lost today, so
I was going to say, some Palace fans are like, oh, you know what, maybe we can. I mean, our record against Chelsea recently is really bad. And even if you beat Chelsea, then you've got Man City or Liverpool in the final. So, but, it's quite cool to see, the final four being Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea and Palace. It's like quite cool to be grouped in with them. But I think there will be some considerations around that. So Elise and Zaha both got injured on international duty and are like 50-50 for the game on Monday. And most Palace fans are saying, most Palace fans are saying just don't risk them. Like this game for us is not important really. Like we're mid-table, we'll give it a go. We've got decent depth as well. We've got players like Edouard who can easily come in for Will, for Ayew, who has had a really good season, can come in on the other side. Like it's not the end of the world if they don't play. And the last thing we want is to aggravate an injury and have them out for Wembley, because that is the big game this season now. And we can beat them. Palace have a good history of beating good teams. I've seen us beat all of the top six since we've come up multiple times. For a lot of it, we've beaten Chelsea at the Bridge a couple of times. We've beaten, we beat City earlier this season. We didn't concede a goal to Man City this season. Like we can beat them, but I'm not going on the expectations. I was at Wembley in 2016 when we lost the FA Cup final, and it was just the most heartbreaking thing ever. And I don't know if I can go through that again, because it was the hope then. We went 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go, and I thought, oh my God, we're going to win the FA Cup.
That dance really killed you that time. Seriously.
Yeah,
Part shouldn't have danced.
I mean, losing finals at the moment, we know a little bit about that, don't we, Bob? Like with the
quite a lot
with the Champions League final, we remember that.
I'm not the only one to remember that huge Crystal Palace semi-final against Liverpool those years ago.
Yeah, that was on my dad's birthday. It was my dad's birthday. And he's a Palace fan. He went to the game. Yeah,
what a game!
We lost 9-0 to Liverpool earlier that season and then beat them 4-3 in the FA Cup semi-final.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Fantastic. But
So Rob, yeah, go ahead. You had some question for Ollie, I guess.
yeah, just a little message to Ollie. You've mentioned that you're looking forward to the semi-final. No one wants to just get to a semi-final. You want to win that cup. We want you to win that cup. So I think your players should just take it easy. Okay, the fans should just have a good night out on Monday. Just enjoy a game of football. Yeah, and just go with the flow and just protect yourselves for the big game in 2 weeks. You don't want to win a semi-final. You want to win the final by getting past that semi, and you don't want to put all your players in jeopardy. I think that's what should happen.
See, Bob, that's how you convince others, okay? Not like, hey, take it slow. No, you got to talk like Rob to convince them to take it slow.
Semi-final. You gotta go more than a semi.
There will be, I'm sure there will be, well, it will go one of two ways. I think the atmosphere will be great on Monday. So I think the crowd will be up for it, but there will be, I'm sure the team will have an eye on that semi-final, like 100% we will. I don't think we'll go with the flow and take it easy, but I don't think, if we weren't in the FA Cup, it would probably be a harder game for you. But I think whether the players like it or not, they're not going to want to get injured or we could even see some players getting rested. So it might be a good time to play us.
And you raised another issue I wanted to ask you. What is it with the Palace home support? Why is it so vocal like that? What is that about?
It's the fanatics, and the home self fanatics get a lot of stick from fans in the UK. People calling them cringy because they have a drum and stuff. But ultimately, it's we have one of, if not the best home support in England.
It's amazing.
The thing is, it's the consistency. I completely understand that. Liverpool in a Champions League night makes great noise. But I watched Liverpool today and it was silent. And if they won, they went top of the league. 10 minutes to go, 1-0, and you could hear a pin drop. The thing with us is, doesn't matter who we're playing, we'll go for 90 minutes the whole time. And when, the Man City game being a good example, 0-0, the atmosphere was amazing all the way through that. And the further we got through the game, the team was being dragged over the line by the fans. And it's been like that since we came up. I remember when we played Liverpool, and there was the 3-3, at 3-0 down, the atmosphere was deafening. It was so loud. Everyone was singing. And I think the minute we scored the first goal in that and made it 3-1, it was this is going to be 3-3 because the crowd was just pulling the players through. So it is amazing. I sit in that stand as well. And it's great. I love it. I've not really heard a stadium make that much noise since we've been up in terms of away games I've been to. Definitely not the Emirates anyway.
No, absolutely not.
we are getting there, Rob. We are getting there, aren't we? We are getting there.
Oh, the atmosphere this season at the Emirates has been different. It's been you go before the game, and there's singing before the game by the bars. Not seen that for years. It's definitely improving, but obviously not on par with Palace. But you mentioned Liverpool. I'm not having this Liverpool. They sing their song before kickoff, and then the whistle goes, and that's it. I was at the Arsenal Liverpool game a couple of weeks ago. You wouldn't even know Liverpool were there till they scored. That's the first time they made any noise. So yeah.
Agreed.
We are trying to forget that game from our memories, Bob. We are not looking forward for that Liverpool game, or we are not looking forward to revisiting that memory anytime.
We didn't lose 4-0 that we normally do, so even that's progress.
Small victories. But on the game, Ollie, right? We are hearing a lot of noise about players and availability and injuries from Crystal Palace. So do let us know what would be the team that you guys would come in with. Who and all are missing, who are available. I know Gallagher is available, so
Yeah, Gallagher will. Gallagher is the one player I'm sure will play because obviously he can't play in the semi-final, so we have no reason to like protect him. As I said, Elise and Zaha are the two who are doubtful and are carrying knocks. And I think from what I hear, Elise will probably play. Zaha probably won't. Is what will happen. But you know, we're in a position now, as I said, where it doesn't really worry me. Like we have good depth. You know, players like Edouard's been brilliant for us and he can't get in the team at the moment. So there are opportunities there for players to come in and prove a point. I think our goalkeeper will always be the same. The back four will be the same. Klein, Anderson, Gahey and Mitchell. That's been the same all season. I'll be interested to see how we set up in midfield because against Everton, we played Kouyaté, Gallagher and Eze, which is very attacking. And Eze was brilliant in that game. But I just think against Arsenal, we'll probably go for more defensive option. I think Eze will probably drop out or maybe play on the wing. And someone like Hughes or MacArthur will come in. Mateta will play up front. I'm sure he's been in great form. And he's one thing you'll see about Mateta is he's not the most technically gifted, but he is a nightmare to play against. He reminds me a bit of Antonio. It's just chaos when he plays up front. Like he's got massive legs, massive arms. He's like 6'4" and he just runs around like he's so hard to play against. And he's been a revelation for us because he was on loan from January last season, and we were going to sell him in January this season. He couldn't get in the team. He was awful. We had a few injuries. He came in and he's just kept the place since then. So he's been great. And then I imagine it will be Elise and Edouard on the wings if I had to guess. Maybe IU, but yeah, we'll see.
From Arsenal's perspective, Rob, right? Like, I know that we would all want Martinelli to start. I don't know, maybe not, but he also traveled all the way to play the internationals with Brazil. I mean, he had a great game there. I don't know if you guys saw, who was it? Dani Alves, was it? Who was mentioning that, called him, likened him to R9 Ronaldo. So he traveled a long way. Would you go for Martinelli or would you go for like?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Listen, you might have, when would he have flown back? Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, I think so, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday.
Yeah, we're not playing till Monday. He would have been in a bed on the airplane. They're not going economy like we do. He'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, he's been fantastic. So he will start, but you know, we'll do it with Smith Rowe. You know, how can a player like Smith Rowe not get into the first team?
Top scorer of the team.
It's a top scorer, and he can't get in the team. It's ridiculous, isn't it? What position to be in? It's a great position to be in, but that's where we are at the moment.
Can you see Martinelli playing up front in the future? Because obviously I know that like he kind of can play there, and you know, I like Lacazette. I think he's really good. I know he doesn't score many goals, but like you can see what he offers Arsenal is so important. But could you ever see a front four of like Saka, Odegaard, Smith Rowe and Martinelli working, or is that not really?
I think it's more alluding to the fact that Martinelli would be converted to a striker, just like how Henry was. You know, he's showing a lot of traits as how Henry showed, you know, at the start of his career. Mind you, he was actually a winger there at UA before we made him to a striker. So
on accord, UA.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So Martinelli has got a lot of traits to take up that second striker role, if not the first striker as such. So he's been good, but I think injuries have hampered his progress last season also, and just so that we are able to see him consistently more this season. So yes, to answer that question, probably it would as well depend upon who we're going to sign in the summer. There's been a lot of talks with, I mean, we've been linked to almost every other player until they get snapped up by other clubs.
As usual.
So Gakpo is one of those who's been touted in from he plays in at PSV, and he plays in a similar position at Martinelli, if I'm not wrong. So if in case he comes in, then there is more possibility of Martinelli moving forward, considering that Lacazette is as well moving out. But yeah, we'll see.
But for me, with Martinelli, it's just that he's too young for England. He's too young to, he's not yet physically fully developed to handle like the defenders in English Premier League. He's not. He's good. His trickery is good. His finishing's good, but he still needs to, build up his whole body up there for him to do that. So from Arsenal's perspective, Arun, right? Like we are going with a Partey and Xhaka midfield. Is it going to be a double pivot, or are we going to see what we have been seeing?
No more double pivots. That's been clear. I think every game that we've been playing, once we switch to 4-3-3, we are taking the risk. We are taking the risk, and we are playing 4-3-3. So I don't think there's going to be any switch. The fact that Xhaka is going to be playing high up, even though he has this lack of speed and all that, he's been doing a really good job in that position. Also adds a bit of steel in there. We're not completely dependent on Partey alone to do that defensive part. So I don't see any reason why they would change it. So I just see it continuing as a 4-3-3 with the three-man midfield, Odegaard, Partey, and Xhaka. All three of them will continue.
Okay, so this part I want to ask, like, who would be the players to watch out for from Arsenal's perspective and from Crystal Palace perspective? Like, Rob, who do you think would be the player to watch out for from Arsenal's perspective and from Crystal Palace perspective?
If Odegaard performs to how he has been performing, we have got a great chance. A great chance. He has been fantastic. And
who do we have to stop from Crystal Palace according to you?
Well, if Saha is obviously the one that you worry about. He's the one that's going to get that last minute penalty. So that'll be a you worry every time he's going to the penalty area. You think we're going to give away a penalty here. He's going to be a big loss for Palace if he doesn't play, I think. But
yeah, sorry.
Viera, I think Viera. He's the main. He's the one who's going to get that team going.
Great answer right there. So, Ollie, for you, who would be your go-to guy in Crystal Palace team, and who would be the person whom you are worried about from Arsenal's perspective?
I've got a few to watch from Palace because obviously I'm a fan. Obviously, going forward, I think if Elise plays, he's the one who, like, in terms of talent, he's probably the most talented player I've ever seen at Palace, and that includes Zaha. He is an extraordinary player who will go right to the very top. So if he plays him, I'd say also Eze, if he plays again, he struggled to come back from injury a bit. He was in and out of the team, but against Everton, he was excellent, and he's had a nice long break now. And he might play off the left, he might play midfield, or he might come off the bench, but he's looking like really good again, and it's good to see that. Hopefully he's back to his best. And another one to watch, maybe in a bit of a different position, is Mitchell at left back, who obviously made his England debut during the international break, and he's not the best going forward. He's kind of he's not a modern fullback, but defensively he's been brilliant this year. He's locked up Mahrez, Ziyech, Salah as well. And I'm really interested to see how Saka gets on against Mitchell, because I think Saka is unbelievable. I'm a big fan of Saka, but Mitchell has been really good defensively, and that'll be a great battle on that wing. So he's another one to watch from a defensive standpoint.
Great. Arun, quick thoughts on who you consider as the people whom you should watch out?
From Crystal Palace, I would say Gallagher. I mean, the kid's been fantastic throughout the season. I wasn't really expecting that from him. I don't watch a lot of Palace games, but whenever I've seen the games, he's been really good. And like that goal all over on Twitter. He finished the goal. We should try and beat him. Like, it's not just beating the center backs is not going to be enough for this game. We need to beat Guaita. From our side, I would say this is a great opportunity for Pepe. Like this game, in my head, I think he's going to
say that every game, mate.
Well, I have something to back myself this time because of the fact that Saka is coming back from COVID and Pepe is more in line to start. So I think Pepe would make good use of his opportunity here. Pepe would be my guy to watch, yeah. And ESR if he starts instead of Martinelli.
Bob, apart from Partey, you could name anyone else.
Oh, don't say that, man. Seriously, Partey dictate our game. So if we have to have a good game from Arsenal, then we would need to have a good game from Partey. Partey dictates the whole game, and I feel he would be the most important player for Arsenal, more than any of our attacking talents that we've got.
Yeah, very good point.
From Palace, I've got a completely different opinion. I fear Benteke more than anyone, really.
Wow.
Seriously, we could maybe even be able to tackle Mateta or Edward or Eze or anyone, but we would fall down the trap of Benteke. 8 out of 10 times, yes, for sure. Yeah, we are trying to get away from that, from being sort of physically being bullied, I would say, in a way. But still, we still. I've still got this niggling thing going on in my mind with Leno being there at goal, and then possibly Benteke could come in and make a difference. Mind you, he scored the goal at Emirates, which took them back to 1-1. So he's got a good.
Before the discussion started, you wanted to shout Lacazette.
Possibly not. I don't think MacArthur would make a start. I think that would be too short for him. And considering that you've got bigger games ahead over the weekend, so you might want to rest him as well. Give him, wrap him up in cotton wool. So this is
massive games ahead. Rest.
You joke about that is true. I mean, MacArthur before his injury has been amazing for us this season. He's struggled since the new year. He's only just come back into training. He'll probably come off the bench. I can't imagine he'll play because in an ideal world, he starts at Wembley and we're going to his rehab is going to be based on getting him ready to play 90 minutes by then. So I don't think he'll start. So don't worry about
that. So if not for that, I was actually just wondering, if I look at the Palace, the formations and all those sort of things, I was just thinking maybe why don't they actually give a game to Schlupp in the midfield besides Koyate and Gallagher there, because I thought that would be more formidable and then more sort of an attacking intent sort of a team set up to counter Arsenal as such.
It's a good point. I mean, Schlupp has played a decent amount in midfield this season, but our options, it's so weird. Last season, you could predict the Palace team every week. Whereas this season, we've got 6 central midfielders who have all played really well this season. We've got, 5 or 6 players across the front 3 have done the same. But Schlupp has had a good spell in centre mid. I think one thing he's really good at is carrying the ball forward. If he gets the ball at his feet and just runs, he's so hard to stop. And against Wolves in particular, in the away game this year, we won 2-0 and Schlupp was immense in that first half. He's unstoppable. I just think that there are probably players who are, especially for a game like Arsenal, who maybe we play instead, but it's impossible to know. The only player who you can guarantee, the 2 who you can guarantee will play is Kouyate, who has been under Viera has been a different player. I used to think Kouyate was really, really average, but working under Viera has done wonders for him. He's been really looks so just because he's been our player of the season and has been one of the best players in the league this season. But that other spot, you've got 4 players in MacArthur, Hughes, Schlupp, Eze, who could all play there very well. So it's nice that we have those options. I think that's something which I've never really seen us have before. So it's exciting.
Bob, you would be evicted if you for one more time suggest tactics to stop Arsenal by Arsenal other teams. You'd be.
I think I'm already on the edge. I think I've crossed this line a few times, I believe.
Yes, but it's so just to wrap things up, right? Do you guys want to do a prediction? I know that Arun has this superstition and stuff, but we are going to try and do the prediction for the game. Arun, I'll start with you.
Okay, I think we'll win 2-1. It'll be a 2-1 win for us.
2-1 win for the Arsenal.
Oh my God, I don't want to say this, but yes, will be a 2-1.
Bob, do you want to go next?
1-1 draw.
1-1 draw. Okay. Rob, do you want to do a prediction for the game?
Bizarrely, I'm going for a 1-1 draw as well.
Oh no! I thought you were gonna say a big win.
No, as much as
Maybe
as
I
much
should
as
have finished
whatever that
last
we
then.
went through, it's Palace, and we have to respect the position. They're playing at home, and they've got all the crowd support behind them. You know, it's a Viera derby, so, and he's
Tough
just
game.
been inducted to the Hall of Fame. So yeah, no, I see going 1-1.
Rob, do you want to see if you could, predict who would be the scorers?
Saka.
Saka for us, and for Palace.
Finish the song, Rob. Come on. Anna Smith Rowe.
No, I don't. I am worried about this game. It's an important game. If we win it, it'd be huge because we've got a couple of games after that. I think we can win, and I think Spurs may drop points during that time. So it's a massive game. But I just think it's one of the toughest games we've got left, I think.
And Ollie, what's going to be predictions for?
There are always goals, it seems like, when Palace play Arsenal. So I'm going to go 3-2 Palace.
Oh.
I'm going to go for Palace, Edouard, Mateta and Gallagher, Arsenal, Smith Rowe and Lacazette.
That's
Mind you, Smith Rowe is a local lad there. He's a Croydon lad.
Yeah, he is.
Lacazette, so we're going to get a penalty, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to surprise you. First goal in 17 hours.
The non-scoring striker scores again. So, anyways, it's been amazing, guys. Thank you so much for joining in, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you both, Ollie and Rob with us today. And Rob, you're gonna be, I'm gonna try and hook you in as much as possible. So, and hopefully this semifinals, you guys come up victorious against Chelsea. Did I just?
Oh, it's going to be
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll take it easy.
So yeah, that thanks so much, guys. Thanks so much for joining in, and hopefully, Ollie, you guys win. Against Chelsea, not against us. That's being selfish to the core, but you guys could do it against Chelsea and cause an upset to take that out of Thomas Tuchel's mouth, where he was running his mouth against Arteta winning the manager of the month. So yeah, good luck on that game, and may the best team win.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Come on, you Gunners.